All I can feel is the pain in my legs, the ache in my chest. Everything burns. All I want to do is stop. And then these sharp, piercing thoughts of my dad. And then I run harder. And the pain increases. And I run harder. And then I'm so exhausted, I have to stop. And in that stopping, I want to quit. But I hear this voice that says, keep going. One more step. One more step. My name is Pat Rodgers. I'm from Laramie, Wyoming. I was born and raised in Casper, Wyoming. Growing up, my childhood was just filled with a lot of time outside.
Here's our little home in Casper. Got the beautiful Casper Mountain there.
I got hooked, from a young age.
We haven't done too much fishing lately. Too much working. No rest for the wicked, you know what I mean?
My dad was a wildlife filmmaker. He really wanted to tell the story of wildlife, especially in Wyoming.
Pat and his father, Neil, were best friends. I mean, they had a very special connection, unlike that of anyone else that I've ever seen.
You know, Neil instilled in Pat a love for the outdoor, a love for wild spaces. His dad was the one guy who really got Pat. Even I can't get Pat the way his father really understood who Pat is.
I would call my dad every day. There's just this constant source of knowledge and support and guidance. I work for the Wyoming Cooperative Fish and Wildlife Research Unit in the Wyoming Migration Initiative, and our goal is to conduct research on ungulate migrations in the West.
You got that, middle.
Hold on, I had one finger crimp on that guy. No Alex Honnold here. My research looks specifically at how male mule deer migrate across the landscape. Nobody's ever looked at their migratory behaviors and mapped those out. And what we're finding is that bucks track forage differently than females. When we know their behaviors, we can offset or mitigate the impacts that our activities will have on those species. I think the most important part of science is communicating our findings and what we learn. I really wanted to find a way to get people involved and get people engaged and to tell the story of my research specifically.
Oh, you all right?
Jeez.
Good?
Yeah, hi, this is Patrick Rodgers. Yeah, Dennis, Patrick Rodgers. Mule deer face a lot of challenges in their migration. I wanted to bring human perspective to that. I called last week asking about getting a permit for the Zirkle Wilderness. I've decided to do a backcountry ultra run that follows the path of the mule deer migration as a way to communicate what migration's like and how important it is to have open, connected landscapes. She was not receptive. Not receptive. I have been training my ass off, running 80 miles a week some weeks. It's like, you can like show and like provide some evidence that,
Oh, you got evidence.
yeah, I can give you the route. Mule deer populations are declining across the West. And they have to migrate. If they don't, they're gonna die. Keeping those corridors open is the only way that we're gonna see mule deer in the future. My dad was the biggest supporter of the idea to run the migration route. But right around then is when he got real sick with the cancer. I didn't care about the project or anything else, you know. All I cared about was just being with him. Nothing else mattered to me. My dad died on December 15th, 2017, right before Christmas. After my dad died, the whole world just felt confusing and chaotic. I hadn't really experienced any loss like that, and I didn't know what it meant to enter into the darkness. But there were days where I just struggled hard, even to the point where I was just like, you can take me now, God. I'm done. But even in those times, I could hear my dad saying, there's so much beauty in life, and you keep going. And really, the idea of the run helps me to have some event that I think can help me leave behind a lot of my struggles and my confusion. I'm gonna start the run up high in the Zirkle Wilderness. I'm gonna cover somewhere between 90 and 100 miles on foot, moving from around 11,000 feet down to about 6,000 feet just north of the town of Beggs. We've got a friend, Ethan Forrester, and he's gonna bring some horses to help us travel this country in the most effective way possible and make sure that I can actually complete this route.
Fur come first, and then brush goes over.
I guess when I first heard about this adventure and this journey, I thought, does he know that country? Like, does he know what he's gonna run through or where he's gonna go? It's pretty tough country. Like, it ain't nice, but it is possible. That's for sure and for certain. But it's definitely not gonna be easy.
Sink down into your saddle. Hump it.
Pat's not a cowboy. He did try for a long time to sit a lope, but he didn't look good doing it. The best thing about him is he didn't lose his confidence and he didn't get scared, which is just part of his character. That's just who he is.
They're gonna be down trees, especially in some of these sections.
If something's hard, he immediately recognizes that it's tough and then can be like, okay, I can learn and grow from this and it'll be good.
This stuff, scary, still scares me.
Yeah.
Being out here brings this into totally new perspective and a new light for me. We get up to about 10,000 feet.
Really?
Yeah. You can see elevation and topography on a map, but when you get out and see it for yourself on the ground, it is an eye-opener to just how intense and how challenging this route is. That's rugged. That's gonna make this scary monster in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Each day, my goal is to cover somewhere around 30 miles or so, which for me would be around 6 or 7 hours of running. I hope to learn a lot about what the migration corridor looks like for these deer. How many fences are they crossing? What's the terrain like? Is there beetle kill? There's so many factors and dangers that they encounter. I think this is gonna be the best way for me to get a good sense of what that's actually like. I'm just grateful to be in a space like this. My dad's here and he's proud. This is something he was passionate about and something he wanted me to do. And that's what we're doing. We're doing this for you, Dad.
Yeah, you can tell. He's kind of like, not completely without a paddle, but not sure where the delta turns out for the river that he's on, you know? Just got to get over a couple rapids and then it'll be smooth sailing. It's a little bit about the deer, but it's a lot of it about his dad doing it to remember, make sure it gets finished right. You know, not let it tangled at the end, but tie a good knot off and call her good. All he's got to do now is just move his legs and run it.
I slept pretty good for about 4 hours straight. Started feeling sick yesterday, midday. But I don't feel like I have the option to rest. I got 30 miles to go. Oh man, this is gonna be sweet. The beauty of life in most living things is that in order to survive, you can't stay in the state you're in. You have to move to a different place, and usually that means moving to a better place. There you go. Yeah, ready to migrate. I got into ultra running after I met my wife, Lily.
Our very first date actually was a run. He was sucking wind pretty hard, but he picked up running to spend time with me, and he's transformed himself. He's a great runner.
Lily's been a very special part of his life, and watching them two grow together has been amazing. She pushes him, and he pushes her, and they do it in totally different ways for each other.
About 2,400 feet of down off the start here.
To watch the journey that he's had with his father, it's been hard. I'm so grateful to just have been able to be a part of that and to accompany him in that, and I love to see him out here having time to just restore and to be with his father and to heal a bit. It's really what he needs right now.
I think running has given me a different perspective on mule deer.
Sorry you're not feeling well.
Virus never killed anybody. It's a challenge to migrate. That is an incredible journey. In my study area, deer winter down in low elevation winter range. Those areas act as refuges for deer. They'll stay down until the snow starts to melt and the grass starts to green up. They'll start to slowly track that green forage and move up into the high elevation mountains where there's abundant forage and water. Getting into an area now that's really important for deer to migrate through here. One buck that we have collared moves 80 to 90 miles south down into Colorado. When that buck migrates, he's encountering an incredible number of challenges along the way. There are more roads out here. We've encountered ATVs and off-road vehicles, housing developments. fences, areas that are overgrazed from cattle and sheep.
Just stay next to the car.
Okay, I'll just stay on the side of the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dog's behind us. You're gonna kick your ass for this by yourself. It's all these little factors that reduce the ability of animals to move and migrate. And any increased stress that could inhibit those migrations can have serious implications, because when you run that far, you suffer. Right now I'm on what we've talked about being one of the toughest sections. So far it's certainly living up to that expectation. Something we can all relate to is suffering.
It was originally 14 miles and now we made it 15 miles?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I believe so.
When I ran the Leadville 50 this last year, I had an incident where I didn't have enough food, I was dehydrated, my face was turning purple, my hands were turning black, I wasn't getting enough oxygen, I was hyperventilating.
Ended up in the med tent, ended up in the ER. Very nearly could have died out there.
I'm worried that a similar thing could happen on this run.
There he is.
Made it. Made it.
Barely made it. Oh, awesome. And the tingling came and I was like, well, here we go, like it's Leadville all over.
We should have stuck to the plan.
When you're running that far and that long, you get into a zone, things kind of blur out a little bit, the edges start to soften. There were moments where it drew me into that suffering. For some reason, it was in those moments that the memories came back the strongest. I had to confront that face to face. And sometimes I didn't want to, and so I'd just run harder. Left knee is just killing me. And the more painful it was, the more I was distracted from those thoughts.
I don't know if the timing would work for us to get in there, miss him, backtrack all of this, and then make it around.
Right.
If we keep going, we run the risk of missing him here and here.
Correct.
So I think the smart decision is to go back
I think too.
and go to this next aid station.
I think so.
My crew is supposed to be here, and they are not here. Now I'm on my own for the next 10 miles.
When you're running that distance, your mental state changes so frequently. You have the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. You know, the littlest things in your external environment can have a huge impact on your internal environment. No part of this thing is easy.
Oh, they did put my food in. Oh, I thought they didn't put my food in the bag.
Not knowing where he is or what's going on, him twisting his ankle or falling down and hitting his head. There's a lot of factors that put him at risk.
What the hell this is? This is not on my GPS.
We're set up at A2 here, but we haven't seen Pat in quite a while.
We're right here on the map.
What do you guys think?
If you're comfortable going to find him, I think
I would send you along,
yeah.
if you don't mind.
So, I got myself into a little bit of trouble. And my GPS still won't find satellites. Come on.
Be back soon.
Bring him back to us.
Oh,
hard without you. It's really hard. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, breathe me. Give me the strength. Keep going. All those feelings of pain, memories of my dad sick, I could just throw it out there on the trail. And that was really healing for me. Oh, what an adventure.
Yeah, buddy.
If the deer gets to a spot where it's expecting like food, and it's a drought year and there's no food or it's been overgrazed, you're gonna suffer, which is what happened to me.
Worried at all?
No, you're strong. You know you make it.
I've been able to relate to what these deer are going through when they move. I imagine that for them, it's a day-to-day struggle. This last year has been a challenge for me every day to get through those hard points. Yeah, this fence is bad for deer. This is a serious impediment. We too often try and change places like this instead of letting ourselves be changed. And that's what migration is. It's moving from a rough place where you're suffering and you're struggling to somewhere better. And I can feel that transformation taking place. Last day, it's come to fruition. It's happening. So, gonna finish strong. Each day got better. My body just was, it felt like floating. It felt so natural to just run. Yeah, I think it was just a good night's sleep. Good recovery. Life is good. As I ran and as I journeyed and as I wrestled with all of those feelings, I realized that life is about beautiful relationships. Although I've lost my dad, I also had the most beautiful people in the world supporting me along the way. There he is. Those people will always be there for me. They will always help me to see who I really am. And in many ways, the person that I am is a part of my dad. And I can continue to let him live on through me. It's been a year of grief. It's been a year of mourning, and it's time to move on and time to live life, you know? So, I feel better. Left a bunch of crap out there on that trail, and I feel a lot better.
I'm not going anywhere. No,
I set out to do this run as a way to share with people the importance of protecting wild spaces, and that happened in a way that I didn't expect would happen. All right, well, thank you guys for coming out this morning. The reason we're out here today is because there are these old sheep fences that basically keep migrating animals from moving through or make it harder for them to move through, and especially this woven wire stuff. Sometimes that ends up with them getting caught in the fence and dying. So we're just gonna roll up the old sheep wire and get rid of that. Removing a fence is opening up and increasing that freedom of movement for deer. Maybe even move beyond something dark, something bad, to no longer be bounded or restricted. I think the best way for me to contribute to the world is to bring people out into wild spaces and let them experience some of the same things that I've experienced that have brought so much life and healing and joy. What I want to do is make sure that future generations can see the mule deer and species like the mule deer roaming free on wild lands and share that with their kids too.
I'm not going anywhere. No, I'm not going anywhere. You can bury me in the ground.
We're so fortunate to have the wide open spaces we have, and if we don't do something to protect that now and to keep what we have, it's not going to be there in the future. All we have to do is keep taking one step, one step.
Take a shot at it. Beyond Plains, Texas. Yeah, let's hear something real.
Step aside, you old ornery tenderfeet, because I'm about to sing my song.
Well, the red-headed stranger from Blue Rock, Montana, rode into town one day. Under his knees was a raging black stallion, walking behind was a bay. The red-headed stranger had eyes like thunder, his lips they were sad and tight. His little lost love lay asleep on the hillside, his heart was heavy as night. Don't cross him, don't boss him, he's wild in his sorrow, he's hiding his pain. Don't fight him, don't spite him, just wait till tomorrow, maybe he'll ride on again.